There aren't many better sights in football than a player running at opponents with the ball at his feet. Here are the 10 best dribblers in the history of the game. Diego Maradona. Maradona was an extraordinary dribbler. When he was running at defenders, it looked like the ball was glued to his left foot. Diego was so synonymous with dribbling that his own unique style was given a name, Gambetta, which described a combination of skill and deception. His dribbling also drew comparisons with tango, the traditional Argentine dance. Maradona's ability to weave in and out of tackles was remarkable for two key reasons. Firstly, the pitches were mostly terrible during his career. Second, attackers didn't get much protection from referees in those days. Some of the challenges against Maradona would have been clear red cards today. Maradona's most famous dribble came at the 1986 World Cup. He collected the ball inside his own half, dribbled past 4 England outfielders and the keeper, then slotted home. "What planet are you from?" screamed the Argentine commentator. Lionel Messi. Just 7 years after Diego Maradona retired, Lionel Messi made his professional debut for Barcelona. They might be very different characters off the pitch, but on it the similarities between Maradona and Messi are uncanny. The younger Argentine even scored a replica of Diego's goal against England. Messi left several Getafe players for dead before firing the ball home in a La Liga match in 2007. Incredibly, that might not even be his best ever solo goal. Messi scored another stunner against Athletic Bilbao in 2015. He picked up the ball on the right touchline, tricked his way past 4 opponents, and fired a shot in past the keeper. Even at the age of 34, Messi is still a world-class dribbler. His acceleration isn't quite what it was, but defenders still struggle to take the ball off that mesmeric left foot. Garrincha. The odds were stacked against Garrincha right from the very start. As a child, he was declared a cripple by a local doctor. His right leg was bent inwards and was 6 centimeters shorter than his left. No one could have imagined that he'd grow up to become one of the greatest footballers of all time. Often referred to as the king of the dribble, Garrincha was a natural entertainer who used tricks and feints to get past his marker. The bow-legged winger was part of Brazil's World Cup winning team in 1958. 4 years later, he was the star man as they won the trophy again. In the entire history of football, no one made more people happy than Garrincha, said Uruguayan writer Eduardo Galeano. Ronaldo. Some of the dribblers we've mentioned in this video were small and slight. Ronaldo was different. 6 feet tall and super strong, he combined pace, power and technical ability like few others. The sight of Ronaldo storming past opponents was a sight to behold. He had quick feet for someone of his size, and it was impossible to catch up with him when he was running at full speed. Ronaldo's best ever dribble was in a game for Barcelona against Compostela. The striker won possession in his own half, took the ball around 5 opponents, and applied the finishing touch. A series of knee injuries robbed Ronaldo of his explosive pace, but his technical ability was undiminished. Even goalkeepers weren't safe from his step-overs, as Ghana's Richard Kingston found out at the 2006 World Cup. Johan Cruyff. As a player and a manager, Johan Cruyff is one of the most influential footballing figures of all time. He helped Rinus Michels create the total football style popularized by Ajax and Holland. Later, he built Barcelona into the super club we all know today. Cruyff was a deep thinker about the game. He was intelligent both on and off the field, but he was also an instinctive talent who could do amazing things with the ball at his feet. He's most famous for the Cruyff turn, which he performed at the 1974 World Cup. "I still cannot understand," his Swedish victim Jan Olsen said. "Now when I see the video, every time I think I've got the ball, when he's about to kick the ball, I'm sure I'm going to take it. But every time he surprises me." That was Cruyff's signature move, but he showed his dribbling ability on countless other occasions. The Dutchman was basically two-footed, so defenders didn't know which way he was going to go. George Best. Now, if we're talking about natural talent, not many players in history had more of it than George Best. The Man United legend could have been more consistent. His time at the top was relatively short, and he struggled with various off-field issues. But at his peak, Best lived up to his surname. The Northern Irishman was part of United's Holy Trinity, alongside Bobby Charlton and Dennis Law. Best was the biggest entertainer of the trio. With his repertoire of tricks, flicks and body feints, he loved to leave defenders in his wake. People were transfixed, bewitched and delighted by the impish, cheeky skills of Best that invariably brought a smile to all except the defenders who had to face him, said BBC journalist John May. Pelé. Pelé could do everything. He scored goals with both feet and his head. He created chances as well as converting them. Pelé could play in several different positions. The Brazilian isn't always renowned for his dribbling, but that's just because he was equally brilliant at everything else. Quick, skillful, and ambidextrous with his feet, Pelé could get past defenders in different ways. Sometimes he used raw pace to leave opponents in the dust. On other occasions, he used his nimble footwork to get out of tight spots. Even when he was surrounded by several opponents, Pelé came out with the ball. Some defenders tried to foul Pelé to knock him off his stride, but even that wasn't enough to stop the king of Brazilian football. Zinedine Zidane. Zinedine Zidane was one of the most elegant footballers to ever play the game. He wasn't particularly quick, but his magnificent balance and close control made him a world-class dribbler. Zidane usually played in the centre of the pitch, where space is hardest to come by, but because he never let the ball get too far away from him, he could evade tackles even in the most crowded areas. Zidane will always be remembered for the roulette, also known as the 360 turn. It was a move he perfected early on in his career. Even the very best teams fell victim to Zidane's marvellous ball control. The Frenchman dribbled with his head up, continually assessing the options around him. He never dribbled just for the sake of it. If it was better to make a pass, that's what Zidane did, and it was usually accurate too. Ronaldinho. Ronaldinho was one of the most entertaining footballers we've ever seen. The buck-toothed Brazilian was always grinning on the pitch, and he made sure the fans were having just as much fun as him. Ronaldinho was a magician. He had an exquisite ability to dodge tackles, leaving defenders red-faced and fans open-mouthed. Opponents resorted to desperate measures to stop him, but a little tug of the shirt wasn't enough. One defender who tried that was left embarrassed. It's a shame Ronaldinho's peak didn't last longer, but it's best to celebrate his immense talent rather than dwell on what might have been. As a dribbler, Ronaldinho was an absolute genius. Neymar. Let's be honest, watching Neymar can be a frustrating experience. His theatrics turn many people off, but we shouldn't lose sight of the fact that he's one of the most gifted footballers on the planet. Neymar has a wonderful goal-scoring record for PSG and Brazil, but his best quality is undoubtedly his dribbling. Neymar isn't slow, but he usually gets past opponents with silky footwork rather than raw pace. Even as a youngster at Santos, Ney was an elite dribbler. He honed his skills at Barcelona and remains a major threat to fullbacks at PSG. Like him or not, Neymar is one of the most devastating 1v1 players of the modern era. Okay, let's do some honourable mentions, shall we? Stanley Matthews. From the 1930s to the 1950s, most English teams played the same way. They tried to work the ball out wide to the winger, who'd run to the byline and get crosses into the box. Stanley Matthews was the greatest dribbler English football has ever produced. His pace, balance and close control earned him the nickname the Wizard of the Dribble. Cristiano Ronaldo. Now, younger viewers might only know Cristiano Ronaldo as a relentless goal-scoring machine. Earlier on in his career, the Portuguese was a step-over-loving winger who enjoyed teasing fullbacks. Combining skill with speed, Ronaldo was very difficult to stop when in full flow. His dribbling became more infrequent at Real Madrid, as CR7 focused on scoring goals and winning trophies. Jimmy Johnston. In 1967, Celtic won the European Cup with a team of local lads. Every member of the 15-man squad that beat Benfica in the final was born within 30 miles of Celtic Park. Jimmy Johnston was the star of that team. Despite only being 5 foot 4 inches, the diminutive winger honed his dribbling skills as a kid by moving the ball in and out of milk bottles in his hallway at home. Rivellino! Rivellino was the player who first popularised the Elastico, which was later used by Romario, Ronaldo and Ronaldinho. That was just one example of the Brazilian's skill and technical ability. The left winger was a key part of the team that won the 1970 World Cup, alongside the likes of Pelé, Jairzinho and Tostão. Alfredo Di Stefano. Alfredo Di Stefano was one of the most complete footballers of all time. He could play in several different positions and contributed in defence, midfield and attack. One of his best attributes was his dribbling. Di Stefano was an excellent ball carrier who progressed the ball up the pitch to great effect.